Hello everyone, welcome to Classroom 2.0 Live for Saturday, December 17th. Today's topic is our featured teacher, and our special guest is Valerie Lewis. Your show hosts are Peggy George, I'm Lori Moffett, Tammy Moore, and Paula Noggle. I'm going to turn the mic over to Susie, who's going to introduce Valerie for us, as well as ask her the newbie question.
Good morning. I'm so excited that we have Valerie with us today. When I think about people who have really pushed my learning and inspired me to experience new things, Valerie is at the top of the list. I know Valerie mainly through the EduMatch Voxer group, and she is a special needs language arts teacher at Discovery High School in Gwinnett County, Georgia, the largest school system in Georgia. She was the Teacher of the Year for her school last year, and she has done so many things. We mentioned Past the Scope. She can tell us about ed obstacles. She finds ways to do things where others might say, no, I can't do it. She's a I can do it person, and you'll be inspired by hearing some of the things she's done. She's a self-described edupreneur, technology fanatic, forever learner, and disruptor of normalcy. She's a 10-year resident of Atlanta, a natural leader, definitely. Wait till you hear all the things that she has created. Her philosophy is all students can learn once great strategies are implemented. Every teacher should always seek ways to challenge not only their students, but themselves as well. And you'll be amazed at all the things she accomplishes. She's also the mother of 2 young children and the wife of a musician, and she still gets all this done. So it's my pleasure to have Valerie with us today. It's also nice to have a high school teacher as our featured teacher. And now we'll ask her the newbie question. And what does Web 2.0 mean to you, and why do you use Web 2.0 tools in your classroom?
Good morning, and thank you, Susie, for that introduction. So Web 2.0 means to me that the opportunities just got that much more better. And with me saying that, I mean opportunities always exist, regardless of having tech or not. But Web 2.0 has made those things that seemed almost impossible possible. The possibility of communicating and connecting with a classroom outside of your actual building is that much more real. The opportunity to collaborate on virtual projects, things that are meaningful not just to the teacher, but most importantly to the students, is that much more possible. And so I need to use these 2.0 resources in my classroom because this is the world that my students live in. When they walk out of my room, they are highly connected. For a lot of reasons on my high schoolers, a lot of their connectivity deals with social platforms, but it is their way to communicate with people. It is their way to amplify and use their voice. And so when they come to my classroom, it should not feel like an unfamiliar world to them. The familiarity in students today is that they are connected. They are using technology. They are collaborating. They are speaking across time zones and different platforms. And so the classroom needs to be reflective of the world that they live in. And if you are working with students that don't have access to technology, then you need to open up a whole new time portal for them and expose them to those things. And so ultimately, that's what Web 2.0 means for me personally, to grow and learn as an educator, and a forever learner, I will say, but also to not limit my students to the possibilities that are endless. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting me. Susie, thank you for extending that invitation. Peggy, Lori, Tammy, I really, really appreciate everything that you guys have saw in me to just even think to invite me to this webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So The title of this presentation, Let Your Spark Grow a Flame, Then Pursue Your Passion. So within each and every one of us, there is that one thing, or maybe multiple things, that we call sparks. There are those little points of interest that are inside of you that you either choose to listen to, or sometimes, in some cases, you may try to ignore or suppress. But don't let that spark be suppressed. Let it grow a flame. Because that flame is not just for you. That flame is more importantly and more so for those that are around you. So once you grow that flame, you can then continue to pursue your passion. Now you may be saying, well, there's nothing that I'm good at. There's nothing that I can tell anyone that they don't already know. And I beg to differ. We are all experts at different things. And we all have our personal lane that we walk. And we all have a perspective that we bring to the table that is truly important. So never silence your voice. Never silence the abilities that you have. Always see yourself as someone who deserves a seat at the table. And it doesn't have to be where it's carried out in a way where it's arrogant or boasting. You should validate your own self and not necessarily have to sit around and wait for others to validate you. So do not feel reluctant. Do not hesitate. You are worth it, and your voice deserves to be heard. And so my many reasons and the purpose for doing what I do is that I always begin with the end in mind. I have to always remind myself that I do it for the kids. I do it for the kids, first and foremost. Yes, it does make my heart happy. I feel so rewarded to know that I've touched not just one life, but many lives. And that keeps me going from day to day. I'm 16 years in this profession as a teacher. And a lot of times when people see me in the building, and even my students, they say, geez, you look like you're only 16 years old. But I have started this educational journey 16 years ago in the year 2000. And have there been moments in my career where I felt so overwhelmed? Have there been times in my career where I felt burnt out? Are there times in my career where I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this anymore? Well, absolutely. I am not going to sell you a dream and say that every day is perfect, every situation is perfect. No. I have been there. I have been in those valleys. I have been to those mountains. I have been back down in the valleys. But when I think about my purpose and the gifts that God has given me, I have to keep going. It is ultimately about the kids. And it inspires me to do better in order to become better. I've never been one that is settled for being average. And that has nothing to do with personalities. I know that there are people that are introverts and they like to do a lot of things on the behind the scenes. Let me tell you, I know some serious powerhouse introvert people that are in my PLN that are making stuff happen. And so it has nothing to do with your personality. It has everything to do with what is in your heart and what is in your mind. Where do you see yourself? How do you aspire to see yourself? Not how do you aspire for others to see you. When we shift our focus and not worry about what lens other people see us through, but when we see ourselves as so deserving, when we see ourselves as royalty, when we see ourselves as the standard of excellence, that's when we continue to want to do more and grow to be better. When you carry that kind of mentality and mind frame, you will never, ever settle for blending in. You will never, ever settle for just being part of the norm. Regular will never be a part of your vocabulary. And so, one of my many reasons and purposes for doing what I do is to become a role model for my family and for my friends. And ultimately it goes back, I do it for the kids. I have 3 little ones, 9, 6, and 3. And when they look at me and they see all the things that Mommy's doing, it begins to shape what they think is possible for themselves. It gives them the idea that I can't just be normal, because the gifts that are within me impact me to do so much more. Not just for myself, not just because I'm trying to be on some podium, but it tells me that this is the standard. I am the standard of excellence. And not only do it for me, but bring others along with me. So find your many reasons. Your reasons aren't mine. So don't copycat my reasons. Find who you are. Find what your purpose is. Find your reasons. What community do you want to impact? What people do you want to serve? What is the message that you know others should hear, whether they want to listen or not? And so once again, my family, my community is very important to me. So my 3 little ones, they look at me and they're like, Mommy, who are you on with now? What video conference? What teachers are you talking to? What state are they in? My kids are already recognizing that being connected, not just to people that are around you, but to a global community is very important. And not only do I reach out to the global community, but I have to make sure that I am impactful in the local community. So I give back to the Ronald McDonald House where I serve. And there you see a picture of me and Miss Diane. Miss Diane worked many, many years, I want to say over 30 years, with the McDonald system. And she volunteers once a month, and she brings in different families and friends to come in and volunteer with her and give back to these families that are going through a very tough time in their lives. And just to be able to go in there and give back, not just to serve food, but to bring my educational talents and skills to those kids that are in that house living and fighting terminal illnesses is so fulfilling and so rewarding. Giving back on Martin Luther King Day, a National Service Day of Project. There on the right, you can see my 2 little boys. They think that they're so cool, like their musician dad. And they're there with Bamsy Baby. And the impact and the influence and them seeing that getting out in our community, using our voice, being part of community events is so important. And there down on the bottom right, they got to meet one of their favorite artists, Silento, the Whip and Nene. And I'm pretty sure you've heard that song go viral. And so they had an opportunity on a back-to-school event to give back backpacks and school supplies and tell kids that it is cool to be smart and that making good grades, there's nothing to be ashamed about that. And so, you guys, family and community definitely matters, and it helps me fulfill my purpose in life. Establishing those meaningful connections. And so, Ed Speakers, here on the top left of the slide, is a community that is so important to me. It is a community that embraces diversity. A lot of times on these national conference platforms, we see the same folks that are being booked as keynotes, and the stage looks all the same. And unfortunately, there are many of us that sit in the wings, that support these conferences, that spend hard-earned money, and yet our voices are never heard. And so Ed Speakers was a community started by Shelley Terrell and Sarah Thomas, which you may know very well. And they were on a mission to specifically hunt down and find those voices that are doing great work, but oftentimes do not get a platform and are not amplified. And so what I think I'd like to do really quickly is be able to share my screen and just hope that I can get this correct. And so this is their webpage. actually their Twitter page on Diversity Speaks. Now, we've been a little silent in the past few months because once school has started, there's been a lot of things going on and happening, and I definitely will hope that we can re-energize this community and this group again. Also, another community that I am a part of is the EdSurge community. And with EdSurge, I've written and contributed an article which has catapulted me into other opportunities and experiences as well. And I wrote an article for them during their 50 states writing project of why most professional development stinks and how you can make it better. And so this is one that if you could just Google Valerie Lewis and EdSurge, you will definitely be able to see that. And so for me, it was important not just to amplify my voice within my building, within my school, within my community, but how could I also amplify my voice in things that matter to me on a different platform as well. And so through writing and contributing work was also a way to be able to do that. Blogging. I don't blog as regularly as I need to, I must confess. However, when I do blog, I like to think that I try to put my foot in it, so to speak. And so here on my blog page, there are several posts that I've written that I'm very proud of. And this is simply things that matter to me. It's not important that I have a large following on my blog. What's more important about my blog is that it gives me an opportunity and a way to reflect. Think about something that might have just occurred. Think about, a situation or a current event. Or maybe give me a way to be able to voice my feelings about things or a practice that I had, something that went well, or maybe something that didn't go so well. And so blogging for me is simply therapeutic. My Voxer community, oh boy, let me tell you, I wrote a blog on how I had a summer love affair with Voxer, and it was true. I was addicted, ladies and gentlemen. I could not get enough. And here you can see several of the communities that I'm a part of, and of course EduMatch, which you can see there, that amplification that Susie put there on this webinar that's taking place today. Preparing next generation innovators. This is a community where we are tapping into pre-service and new teachers and giving mentorships and partnering up with universities and colleges and schools, not only all over the country, but globally. We just recently last week launched on WhatsApp a community for 160 mentees from Ghana, South Africa. Miracle Gavdanor is the brain behind getting us all of those mentees. And let me tell you, we are using a platform called Let's-Teach.com, which is from a good friend of mine from college, Andrew Bonaparte. And that is where we're going to be holding forums and topic discussions and giving our new and pre-service teachers challenges that they can take a part of and be a part of. This community here, EduMatch, of course, all of these things I can honestly say I would not have met the people that I've met. I would not have grown over these past 2 years had it not been for my EduMatch family. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not on Voxer, if you are not on Twitter, if you are not connected, and you are not part of this EduMatch community, please, please join. This community is awesome. Like-minded folks are in this space, and they share resources willingly. They encourage. There are breakout groups from this community that start other initiatives. I will tell you, this group has given me my wings. Times where I thought, oh my gosh, what is happening in education? It's given me a new song and a new story to tell. It's told me, you know what? Education is not all the things that we see in media. Education is what we're doing. Education in our communities like this Classroom 2.0 Live. Education is what we're doing on Voxer. Education are those chat groups that we are part of on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest. That's what education is. And it really takes us to tell that story and to transform what people see. And so EduMatch, I will publicly say thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me and affirming who I already knew I was, but giving me that platform to say, you know what, go bigger, go harder, grow more, use your voice more. And because of you, you are a big part in who I am today. And as you can see, you guys, the list goes on and on and on, the different communities that I am a part of just on Voxer. It goes more than 140 characters. This is where you get to hear people speak, their voices. You don't get to misinterpret anything that anyone is saying. You guys, this is the way to go. And so I'm going to come back here into the community, and I'm going to make sure that I stop sharing. Let me make sure that I'm doing this correct. Perfect. Thank you. See, that's what a fabulous team does for you. Simple K-12. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was able to contribute several webinars to them. And with Simple K-12, I was able to talk about what I do in special education. If you know anything about special education, we're often forgotten. We're often the ones that people put in a wing by themselves. We're like that black sheep of the family. They know we're there, but we don't get that much attention. And so I was able to present several webinars on tech tools in the special education classroom and how to get those resource students engaged, how to get them to fill in those gap skills and move forward. And so, meaningful connections, you guys. It's not just about going around and collecting trophies and seeing how many people, oh, I have 30,000 followers. Those things, you guys, are null and void. That is not important, at least not to me it isn't. It's the connections. It's the relationships that are built. It's the learning that is formed that is the most powerful. So when you connect with people, make sure that those connections are meaningful and you're not just collecting people just to say, here's how many people I have following me and here's how many people I'm following. And so out of that EduMatch group, I was able to grow and find some like-minded friends, and we started Pass the Scope EDU. So I know one of the poll questions asked you, have you heard anything about the Pass the Scope EDU hashtag? Well, if you didn't, listen up. Pass the Scope EDU. 5 of us were just on Voxer, chit-chatting and carrying on because, you know, we don't just always talk about educationally related things. We do talk about family things and our guilty pleasures, and we really connect on a personal level because we are humans. Despite what our students think, they think we live at the school, so when they see us out in the communities at the grocery stores, they're about to pass out because they're like, oh my gosh, she doesn't live at the school, she comes out, she has a home. So Pass the Scope EDU, we were talking about battle raps and things that we wanted people to know that teachers have lives, we have personalities. We can be humorous, we can be comedic, we are in tune with the latest hip-hop songs and trends, we can be fashionable. All of those things are who we are as educators. And so in that brainstorm and in that conversation grew the idea of how can we show people these many faces of who we are, and not only show them who we are, but how can we grow and learn and reach farther. And so Pass the Scope EDU was born. And so we use Periscope as a platform. And hence the name Pass the Scope, because literally the 3rd Thursday of every month, so you just missed us this past Thursday, but you can always catch us because we have a storify of everything that we do. Just follow us on Twitter. You can, follow the hashtag Pass the Scope EDU, and you can see the live broadcast. We literally pass the scope. So every 15 minutes, we have a sign-up sheet where people can sign up and decide to scope on a particular theme topic for the month. So if you look on the slide here, you'll see the many different themes that we've started. And these are not even all of them. These are just some of them from June, July. We did an ISTE Roadshow edition. We even did a special one with Remind, which used to be or formerly known as Remind 101, during their Succeed Together with the back to school theme. We also did one for International Day of Peace, thanks to Tracy Brady, who had the great idea that we partner up with the UN and what they were doing with International Day of Peace, and that we talked about what peace meant to us. And peace wasn't just one idea. We had people talking about domestic violence. We had people talking about spiritual peace. We had people talking about just peace within yourselves. Dysfunctional families. We talked about peace at school and giving kids a safe environment, because we know oftentimes they come from homes that are not as peaceful for them. So when they come to us at school, they're bringing all of their burdens and their problems with them. And we don't need to add to that. We need to give them a safe and peaceful environment. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are not part of this Pass the Scope EDU community, you do not have to be familiar with Periscope. You do not have to be an expert scoper. We have people coming to us novice. The day before we do a live broadcast, you will find some of us, myself, Stacy, One-to-One Brian, that are doing private tutorials just to get our newbies connected. And this community spreads broad. We have scopers in Argentina, Greece, Canada, Africa, and different states within the United States. And we would love to have you come on board. It's only a 5 to 7 minute scope, so nothing that you have to do long and drawn out. We will make sure that you are ready, because our goal is not to set you up for failure. Our goal in this community is that we all succeed together, and that we're only as strong as our weakest link. So we want to make sure that everybody shines bright. And so thank you. I see in the chat room that some of the links to the store files are being added, and you can join us and follow us. Pass the Scope EDU. Teach. You are the expert. That means your perspective matters, and the world is your classroom. Share your viewpoint, or share something totally new. Learn. Do not ever forget that as educators that we are forever students. You are the student, and the world is now your playground. Never miss an opportunity to reflect and grow. And so these are the missions that we live by. This is our motto. This is our aim. And so coming in January, thank you to Kimberly Martin. She put together a very neat website for us that we were able to just kind of come together and cultivate. But in January, we are going to be launching a new web design, thanks to Brian, One-to-One Brian, in Texas. And by the way, all the graphics that you see for Pass the Scope and the logo, Brian is the powerhouse designer behind those things. And this one on your current slide, any graphic that comes from Bunsey, a brand new scoper to our community, Amy Storer. So between her and Brian, they make sure that our designs are always beautifully laid. So I invite you all, no matter what part of the world you're in, to join us on Pass the Scope EDU. These pioneers would love to see your face. Tatul Nintoya, Nicole Taylor, Derek Larson, Sarah the teacher, and Stacy Doval. Lovedoll. You can definitely follow us. Follow the hashtag PassTheScopeEDU, and we'd love to have you there. Moving on. Should you do this work alone? Absolutely not. This work should never be done alone. I can never take credit for anything that I'm doing, because I could not do this alone. I need my squad, and my box squad has been my go-to. What are your squad goals? Tap into your strengths, gear up, and do the work. What are your strengths? Well, that's something that you're going to have to find. And if you're not sure what they are, listen to the people around you, because they will certainly tell you what they are. I realized some things that I had as strengths, but when I listen to people say, Valerie, you're so articulate, you speak so well, you always find a way to say things so eloquently, you're so encouraging, you're so inspiring, you are what I need to see in my school as a leader. And when I started to listen to these things that people were saying, they pretty much were telling me what my strengths were. They were letting me know, here's my inner strengths that I need to tap into and grow. So I geared up. I made sure I surrounded myself with a tribe that were of like minds. And now I'm out in the field, and I'm doing the work. So I encourage you as well to get your squad goals. What are they? Who do you surround yourselves with? Are these people that are going to build you up? Are these people that are going to always cause you to see what you can't do? Or are these people that are going to believe in your vision and help you get there? My squad is super tight, and I love them each and every day for who they make me on, who they form me to be. And so this summer, daring to design. What did I want to design? What is the story of my life? I was accepted as a summer fellow for the Teachers Guild. If you are not familiar with the Teachers Guild, please, please, please follow that hashtag on Twitter, on Facebook. Emma Scripps, Molly, Brett Bowell, these guys at IDEO in San Francisco, California, have formed together a group that is tackling 30 problems, educational problems, over the next 3 years. And ever so often they throw out a collaboration or a challenge where teachers can design solutions to these problems. Let me tell you, these things are so fun, and the ideas that people come up with are mind-blowing. If you're talking about growing your craft and stretching your skills to the next level, Teachers Guild is definitely a community that you want to be a part of. As you can see here on the screen, these are many different designs that people have contributed to problems and challenges that they were trying to attack. So when I was there this summer, we were talking about character building. Now, we talk about character a lot when we're at the elementary level. And as we start to get to the middle school and the high school level, it kind of seems like the idea of character is no longer talked about. There are no character courses that you can register for at the high school level. And then your teachers just kind of assume that you know the right thing to do. But what we fail to recognize is character is something that needs to constantly be taught. It needs to be modeled. And so if you are talking about design thinking and you want to learn more about that, Teachers Guild will give you that platform. And so the collaborative that I was a part of focused on these particular character strengths. And that first one, by far, is one of my favorites. What is zest to you? I like to think I have a zest for life. And because I have that zest for life, it makes me a go-getter. It makes me excited about learning. It makes me excited about growing. My community is not just filled with educators. I rub shoulders with community leaders, politicians, business leaders. Why? Because I'm interested in educating the whole child. And if we're looking at the whole child, I cannot simply have a tribe that is only of one expertise or one perspective. I need to see the social worker's perspective. I need to see the Juvenile Justice Detention Center administration's perspective, the police officers. I need to see the welfare case manager. I need to see university professors. I need to see politicians, business leaders, parents. So when we're talking about a zest for life, there is no stopping. So purpose. What is purpose? Ladies and gentlemen, that has been an old age question. What is your purpose? What do you want your purpose to be? What impact do you want to leave behind? What is grit? What will you do to hang in there, to stick with it? Is it always going to be easy? No. Is it always going to be beautiful? Of course not. Will there be obstacles in the way? Absolutely. But will you have perseverance and determination? Will you stick with it? What is growth mindset? Are you one that's saying, well, I'm a veteran teacher and there's nothing anyone else can teach me ever, and so I'm good. I'm going to close my door and I'm going to teach my students and everyone leave me alone. That's not the idea. That's not what we want to model for our students. We are forever learners, and so there's always something that we can learn from anyone. From the custodian who cleans our restrooms and mops our floors and empties our waste bins at the end of the day, all the way up to the associate superintendent of our district. There's always something that we can learn from anyone that we come across. What is self-control? Oh boy. Are you someone that's easily riled up? Are you able to bite your tongue even in moments where you may feel like you don't want to? How do you balance your life out? Do you have self-control? And what is social intelligence to you? Empathy. Are we always thinking about ourselves? Are we looking around at others? Are we thinking about how we can meet the needs of others in our community? So yes, as you think about the experience that I must have had this summer with the Teachers Guild, I was blown away. Now, I like to think of myself as, pretty on point, but I learned so much in this community. Oh, how I miss Blab. We held a Blab virtual brainstorm where people could jump in from all over the country. And so they were giving their ideas about how they can build character within their classrooms, what type of activities and things, using the design thinking method here. And there you see Aaron and Norman that are joining me on screen there, and they were hosts. And you guys, that was so much fun to do that virtual brainstorm. And then we included a virtual Padlet where you could see tons and tons of ideas that people were dropping there that said, what are the classroom ideas to build character? What are the school and campus ideas that you might be able to build? And what are the moonshot ideas? What are those ideas that you think, oh, there is no way anyone's going to ever think this is going to be possible? We call those moonshot ideas. And what are those things? And there you see that Padlet where people were just dumping their ideas down on that Padlet to share with us. And so, tapping into existing networks. You can't just be a follower of Twitter. You just can't be a Facebook follower. You have to go to where people are. You must tap into existing networks everywhere because you will find that there are a variety of people in all places that will bring great ideas to the table to help you grow. So you should be at least visible on all of these platforms. You may not be as active because we all know time is a precious commodity. But do not close yourselves. I know you're probably going, Snapchat, isn't that for teenagers? Well, I found ways to integrate Snapchat into my classroom where students are doing 10-second quick snaps or reflections on a lesson or an idea that they've done. Why should I compete with the tools that they are using? I don't want to fight that battle because it's one that I won't win. But instead, I found a way to utilize what they are already using and integrate that into my classroom. 10-second snaps. My students talked about how they saw themselves as a vision of success because that was my classroom theme this year. How do you see yourself as a vision of success? And you've got 10 seconds to do it. And they all use Snapchat to tell me how they see themselves as a vision of success. And of course, teenagers, as they are, they decided to take a step further. They added filters, they got creative. Some of them decided to do more than 10 seconds, and they put together a Snap story, which played back to back to back. And so, ladies and gentlemen, don't fight the battle. Don't compete with them. Join them. Find where they are, make it work, integrate it into your classroom. Tap into existing communities. And so when I walked into the doors at IDEO this summer to start my summer fellowship with the Teachers Guild, as soon as I walked into the door, plastered on the wall were these words. You guys, it gets no better than this. Be optimistic. Those negative Nancys who always have to find a, oh, but I can't, oh, but this, oh, but that. You guys, enough. Be optimistic. Find what you can do. And the things that seem impossible, befriend those folks that can make them possibilities and make it happen. Be optimistic. Collaborate. Oh, remember what I told you? You need squad goals. Who are you going to put together with you to reach those goals? You cannot or you should not do this work alone. Talk less, do more. I know a lot of people who blow a lot of hot air. You guys, hot air is good for hot air balloons. Other than that, let's do more. Let's get out there. Do not look at your restrictions and your barriers as obstacles, but find those ways to make it happen. And I'm going to show you really quickly ways that I made it happen with little to nothing. Learn from failure. Will you always be successful? No, but there's always a learning lesson from that opportunity, which will help you grow and improve and revise and do more. Isn't that the lesson that we teach our students? Well, how dare we be hypocrites and not apply that same lesson to ourselves? Learn from failure, learn from your mistakes, and make others successful. If you're doing it only for you, then those reasons are selfish alone. We do this work because we're wanting to make others successful. We're solving problems in our communities. And so please remember to do that. Make others successful. And so I thank IDEO for putting those words on the wall. When people walk in and out of that office space, they are constantly reminded of their mission. Just do it. So remember, hot air, it's just for balloons. Just do it. Add obstacles. You guys, this was a moonshot idea for me. I didn't think it possible. The end vision that I have in my head, I haven't even reached it yet. But an opportunity came to me through Tanya Hyman. She is on the board, and she's president-elect of Atlanta Maker Faire. And she reached out to me and said, Valerie, why don't you do a mini obstacle course of your Ed obstacle? And I said, oh my gosh, Tanya, I don't have anything. I don't have anything in place. Now, me and a community of educators, we've been brainstorming ideas, but I don't have anything. She said, you got to start somewhere. Boy, did she slap me in the face with my own words. And so, what did I do? I got creative. I looked at the opportunity and said, I dare not let this opportunity pass. And I said, all right, collaborate with others, find a way to make it happen. Got together with two educators at my school, the engineering teachers. They turned it into a PBL project. We had students design the obstacle courses. We reached out to community personnel to help us come in and build. The Home Depot gave us wood. We found a local university, Gwinnett Tech, that had a construction building course. They built things for us. And you guys, we got it going. We had an obstacle course that we debuted to 30,000 to 40,000 people. Now, I know that in the webinar or in the link, and I'm not going to do the screen share, there are some videos there that you can see the website of Ed Obstacles, and you can also see a video there. And I don't know how I'm doing here on time, but what you see here in the top left-hand corner is a video that you can kind of get a perspective of what Ed Obstacle was. We went from concept to reality. We made it happen. We just did it. And so we found a team. This flyer here on the top right was designed by Jamie Donnelly. Find people that may possess those skill sets that you don't have. And if they believe in the vision, they will work with you and they will work for you. They will make you successful. That is the motto, make others successful. And so we designed an Ed obstacle course that we are now currently scaling. Just this week, I applied for a $40,000 grant to get it to where I need to be. Another initiative, Dare to Dream. I love this. We were accepted for our living museum, and I think that Peggy is going to share with you guys a link in which you can get within the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. This living museum, we were accepted to do this workshop in Anaheim, California in March 2017 to teach educators and other service learning providers how to create or recreate this living museum that we produced at our school. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, I guess, that you can click on that link and watch those first few moments, just 2 minutes, of that video.
Ladies and gentlemen, many of you will learn something you never knew before. Gather yourselves now as the moment has come. For this night only, you will be permitted into the many faces of me.
How are you doing? I am Tyree Freely.
My name is Isaiah Priester.
I'm Charlie Dinkins.
Hi, I'm Valerie Lewis.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hemmingson. I'm a junior at Discovery High School. And I am.
And I'm the opener for the Many Faces of Me.
Amber Riley. Viola Luizo.
Spike Lee.
Bob Marley. This is Discovery's first living museum, in history because it is our first year, you know. We've had dance performances and theater performances, but this is something like no other that other schools don't really do.
You can show so much just by your eyes. That is the strongest suit when it comes to film acting, is your eyes. And I love that you can do anything. And you can say anything, you can give any story, you can do whatever you want. And it's just behind a tiny little camera, and all you have to do is press play. And I absolutely love that. And I feel as though this experience helps me learn a completely different character, because I'm nothing like this woman. I'm just a tiny little scared thing. And she's over here and she's powerful and strong, and she wants to make a difference in this world, so that's exactly what she did. And I feel as though she's an inspiration to me, because now I feel like I could do the same thing about any problem in the world.
I was born 1913. Throughout my life, there were Jim Crow laws and segregation. That all changed one day when I refused to move to the back of the bus when told by the bus driver.
Whew. I'm so tired. Here you go. Let me go ahead and pay for this. Oh, I'm just gonna sit right here. My feet are killing me. You said, excuse me. You say you want me to change my seat? I like to be known as someone who's more concerned about freedom and prosperity and justice and equality for all people. Because of that, I'm known as the mother of the civil rights.
Who am I?
I'm Rosa Parks, and this is the many faces of me.
And so that's just a little snippet of it. And I know Peggy and our other wonderful moderators have a link to the full video in the live binder. So make sure if you want to see more of that and how it was done, or if you have questions about me or how we did it, then you definitely want to watch that whole thing, and I'll be glad to share with you. So with this in mind, you guys, as we come to a close, oh, the places you go when you allow that little spark, as we mentioned at the opening slide, grow into a flame. You'll pursue your passion. It will take you to places and cities and continents and worlds that you might not have ever imagined yourself to go. And so I've been fortunate to meet so many wonderful educators and individuals throughout my travels and my journey of learning and growing. If I had the mind frame that I didn't want to grow and that I knew it all and that I could do it all by myself, these experiences that have shaped me into the person that I am today would be non-existent. So remember, growing will take you to worlds unknown, to higher heights. It will make you better than you even imagined for yourself. So don't limit yourself. And remember, the best is still yet to come. You've not seen or heard the last from me, and I hope that I've not seen and heard the last of you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today. I hope that I've given you a little bit of inspiration. Light that fire, set the world on fire, I should say. Go forth, be great, do amazing things. Remember, the world is watching you, and so be that model for them.
Thank you so much, Valerie. That was a wonderfully inspiring presentation. I did capture some questions, and as I'm asking, and Valerie and I are playing walkie-talkie with the mics, trying to get them answered. If you'd like to ask yet more questions, you can type them in chat, and I'll capture them there as well. The first question was, Valerie, do you have a Twitter list of other special education teachers you recommend following?
Yes, I do. And what I will do, if you don't mind, if you would DM me on Twitter at IamVLewis, I will certainly share some of those. I don't have them compiled in a list, but I will share some of their handles with you and some of those special education chats on Twitter and Voxer that are specifically for special education community educators.
Great, thanks. The next question, when people do the Pass the Scope EDU chats with you, do you have to prepare slides, or does the presenter just talk during those chats?
During our Pass the Scope EDU broadcast, you can do whatever you like. You'll find that some scopers just simply like to talk right into the camera, and that's it. The only slide that they'll prepare might be to show you who's coming up next after them. And sometimes they'll just write it with a marker on a sheet of paper. The preference is totally yours. There is no mandate to prepare any slides. You just find people do what they like and what they're most comfortable with.
It's terrific. That makes it very comfortable for them, probably. The other question I have is a squad formal or informal? Do you identify specific people to be in your squad? I think that was the goal squad.
I do not identify specific people unless it's for a specific initiative or task. So for example, our Preparing Next Generation Innovators that mentors new and pre-service teachers, those individuals are going to be people that have that particular passion or are doing some type of work already with new teachers and mentees. That will be the time that we hand select. But pretty much your squad is another way of saying your PLN, your Professional Learning Network, because you're going to find a variety of people there with a variety of interests and a variety of expertise. And so if you're working on a particular task or project, then that squad, you may want to hand select who helps you get that job or that initiative or that project complete.
Thanks, Valerie. Peggy just wrote, I was thinking a squad might be a subset of a PLN. Sounds like it could be. Is that correct?
Yes. That is a perfect way to put it, and I love that. It exactly is. Your PLN is the broader group, and your squad are going to be those specific individuals that help you with those specific passion projects that you have.
That's wonderful. Those were the questions that I was able to capture. If anyone else has a question, you can please type it in the chat, and I'll ask Valerie. And at the moment, I don't see any typing. So thanks so much, Valerie. We'll wrap it up there. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Peggy, who will do the upcoming shows.
Thank you so much, Valerie, for that. I apologize for my voice, but at least I have a voice this week. I want to remind everyone that we won't have a show for the next 2 weeks, but then, to start the new year, we have a fabulous show to kick it off, and we'll be celebrating our 8th anniversary of 8 years on Classroom 2.0 Live. We have a super time planned. It is going to be an open mic show, and we'll be sending out more details about that. But we want people to kind of do a trip down memory lane and reflect back on what technology we had, tools, apps, computers, whatever, back in 2009 when we first began, and what we have now, what has changed for us. And we're going to have prizes for people. We're going to be inviting all of our presenters from 2016 to come and join us so we can celebrate and thank them. So I hope you'll plan to join us on January 7th, 2017. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and winter break.
Thanks, Peggy. The Learning Revolution Project is Steve Hargadon's latest. He's gathered all his PD resources in one place, including host your own webinar, where you can sign up for a Blackboard Collaborate session, and as long as your session is public, it's free. You can nominate a featured teacher. Valerie was this month's featured teacher by filling out a form here or within the Live Binders resources section. You'll find the form. You can also nominate yourself as a featured teacher for the month. As you exit the session, the Classroom 2.0 Live survey should open up in your browser. You can get the survey at the direct link. You can take the link from the chat box or the log if you're watching the recording, or within the Live Binder itself in that resources section you can find the survey. Once you complete the survey, at the very bottom you can request a professional development certificate. Make sure, though, that you use a personal email address for this to arrive to you. Schools tend to block the certificates, and thanks to Patty Ruffing for sending them out. And they also now print out with your name on them. Again, thanks to Patty. Special thanks again to Valerie Lewis for being our special guest today, to Steve Hargadon, the founder of Classroom 2.0, Teacher 2.0, Future of Education, and the Learning Revolution, to Blackboard Collaborate for our webinar platform, and to everyone who participated in the show today. Thanks so much for coming, and yes, have a wonderful holiday break, and we'll see you in 2017.